Oh, hey guys, Mason here, Cardinal Gaming. How's everybody doing? Here after hours to make some sweet content just for you guys. So I hope you appreciate it. I'm kidding. Appreciate you guys clicking on the video, supporting the channel, supporting the store, like you guys always do. I'm finally gonna talk about 30th anniversary MTG debacle, firestorm. It's too early in the video to cuss, so let's say poop show of just people getting really up in arms about a make-believe promise that a company made 25 years ago to get people interested in the game. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm sorry. We'll go over that. Been a lot of talk about this going on, and I wanted to do a video before, but you know, as things unfold, you know, who knows how things are going to turn out. So I've been kind of waiting to see what happens. You know, if everything went to zero and the whole game collapsed on itself, or you know, it was just a blip and we are just right back to normal for the most part, and you know, that just becomes a part of the long list of things that Hasbro is doing to weaken the game of Magic, but is definitely not, I don't think, destroying the game. So, you know, their list of things that they're doing that could be destroying the game is longer than just this one item. And even that may be a little dramatic. Let's be real. Obviously, like, Rudy, Alpha Investment's been making all kinds of videos about it. And, you know, I'm not going to come on here and just regurgitate the same thing or do like a daily update video like other channels are making and just spouting off gloom and doom all the time. It's not that dramatic. It's not that scary. It's concerning, but as somebody that has a lot of money and makes a lot of their actual revenue off of Magic singles, Magic products, the accessories that go along with playing Magic, all that stuff, is, I just wanted you to know, like, this is from an actual store's perspective. It's not somebody that has spent their life investing in sealed product and then all of a sudden sealed product is not seen as bulletproof as it once was because of, yes, there's an overprinting issue, and yes, there's a single flooding and reprinting issue, but also the just potpourri style of, you know, so many different versions of the single card, borderless foiled, cold foiled, textured foil, you know, edgeless, backless, strapless, all that stuff. It is getting too complicated, and as that kind of works its way out and Magic kind of gets out of this like trial period where, again, people are saying Wizards is hurting and Hasbro is hurting. Yeah, the stock is not doing so great, but Magic is still selling very well. Dungeons & Dragons is doing very well. They continue to make good products. Some of the latest sets of Magic has been the best constructed that we've ever seen. The design is, for this entire year, from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty and Streets of New Capenna, just all that weird, funky flavor that is cool and definitely, you know, revitalizing and refreshing. And then you have the stuff that throws back, like with the Brothers War and the Dominaria stuff, and then coming up with Dominaria Remastered, all that stuff. It's all good, and it's all mixing, and it's a good. If you're mixing up a salad, there's a lot of stuff to get in a biteful for everybody, as we you know, try to feast on this product together. Yes, breaking a what has been a weird rule for a long time is kind of seen and can be seen as a betrayal from a lot of players, investors, collectors, say which, you know, whatever camp you put yourself in. But we got to remember that this is a company that has been bought and sold, taken over, taken an engine of what was Wizards of the Coast, and then put into the giant, locomotive that is Hasbro, chugging down the tracks of making money. That one engine is doing a lot of the weight, but it is still just a piece of the greater whole there. And there's been a lot of personal attacks by Rudy and people saying things about people directly, and that's kind of is sad to see, because yes, they said something a long time ago, but businesses change, businesses get bought, sold, taken over. People that had control or say at one point no longer have say, so it gets murky very, very quickly when you start to blame individuals, other than the people at the very, very top, the people that are actually probably the most forceful about what Hasbro is doing to Magic and slaughtering the golden goose, if you will. But again, we can go and go back and watch this all unfold after Hasbro's acquisition of Wizards of the Coast, starting with Secret Lairs, seeing just how far they can get away with stretching, reprinting, licensing, the multiverse type of just we're above planeswalkers, now we have universe, whatever they call them, magicians, titans, whatever the term is. But all this is funneling to make money. Money. Yes, this has been coming for a long time. This player boiling over and people throwing their hands up in the air and saying they're out has been coming for a very, very long time. And this is not my stance. This is me trying to understand from a player's perspective. People want to blame Hasbro for sterilizing the game, taking a lot of the edginess out of it, making it more family-friendly and inclusive and supportive of everybody and not being offensive. And yes, for a billion-dollar company, that is extremely important. And yes, some of the things that they have done to both Magic, D&D, all these properties that they have, very, very smart thing to do, depending on just how society is, how it's continuing. And it can definitely be argued that that is for the better. It can be argued. But a lot of people, the people that have nostalgia for the game and remember growing up growing up with it and the time of their lives and associating that with different times, that you can see where Hasbro changing things can definitely put that person off. And that's fine. That's their opinion. That's how capitalism works. It's free markets. But those types of people are definitely the ones that are seeing this and being like, all right, we're done. And again, do what you want to do, spend your money how you want to. Definitely, if you want to blame the business or pin a business down based on their decisions, absolutely, you should, especially if you disagree with them. But it's bigger than that. And there's more things than just this reprinting of these 30th anniversary things. It's a larger scope. And a lot of people are just saying, this is it. This is the turning point. This is the end. People that are upset about this, it's been building for a long time, and they finally saw this as like the final straw. And it can be argued again. It can be argued again. That's within a good reason, because a lot of people see Magic as an economy. The secondary market is very much its own standalone thing. It is bigger than just one person. It's bigger than just one decision. Things ebb flows. There's companies that make millions of dollars off the secondary market of Magic. A lot of those businesses out there just like me, rely on this game existing and continuing on and growing and growing the player base and doing things to capture wider audiences and better revenue and get better over time. Lots of businesses, thousands of businesses, local businesses, LGSs, rely on that. And then the big card conglomerates as well, your Card Kingdoms, your Troll and Toads, your all these guys that do huge, huge, huge numbers. All those people rely on the same thing. We're all relying on Magic. That owes us nothing. This is not about LGSs as much as it is the general sentiment, and then that is then turned on us, and we have to adjust and adapt, as we always do. I mean, if Magic is good, bad, sideways, we have to make micro adjustments to continue, and if we want to rely on this as a revenue stream, we have to continue banking on and adapting based on what Wizard says. So it is not so much as woe is the LGSs that have to rely on this game, and poor LGSs on. There's a lot more that Hasbro is doing that is hurting an LGS than reprinting cards that I maybe have had less than a dozen of in my shop at any given time. Definitely, like, over the years. I'm not sitting on a ton of mock sapphires and mock rubies and all this reserve list stuff. I'm not sitting on a bunch of it. I know it definitely doesn't hurt your everyday LGS that these cards are being reprinted. It's the general sentiment behind it, and then people selling out, which could be even seen as a good thing, because we've taken in more Magic cards and overall large collections in the past 2 months, and people citing this as being an issue, and why, than any time in the business. A lot of people are saying, I don't like the direction Magic is going. I'm just going to sell out. And sellouts happen. Like, good, bad, doesn't matter. But now, more than ever, we're seeing people point to this being why. So that is a cause for concern. But that being said, people are still coming out and playing. People are still having a good time. People aren't spending money on sealed product, that's concerning, and that's an issue. But that doesn't hurt our revenue as much as if the player sentiment all dropped off and we weren't able to sell singles anymore. Selling singles is where LGSs make money. Sealed product it's an ends to the means. It's a resource, just like anything. Sealed product is a way of getting trades and people trading towards sealed product, and then obviously people opening stuff and then trading it back to the store. That's the life cycle of how an LGS makes money. I can sell packs for a price without profit being the end goal, and still do okay on a sealed product because I'm getting that in trade, or people trading items back to me, and then I'm making money that way. Obviously, I'd like both, right? I'd like to profit off the packs and then profit on what people sell to me when I sell it back. That's great. And in healthy conditions, that's awesome, and that's how it works. But for right now, that's still established, and that's good. As soon if that ever drops off, or things happen and get worse to where that becomes an issue, then LGSs have a problem. I can adapt my buying habits for sealed product. If I don't want to go in as heavy, like I did videos on the Baldur's Gate issue of the last set, and I've lost thousands of dollars on that sealed product alone. That's that one sealed product for Magic. And I've lost money on a lot of sealed product for Magic this year. I have cracked a bunch of sealed product for Magic because getting the money back off the singles is at least something compared to having to ship and get fees and all that stuff on selling the sealed product as it is standalone for the prices that are currently. When Hasbro's dumping stuff on Amazon and selling boxes that I have on my shelf for $120 for half that price on Amazon, shipped directly to whoever it is, that is what damages LGS. That is what hurts us when we are buying into a product and into doing our part into the life cycle of this product, having it on our shelves, having it available, recommending it to people, having people play, and giving it out as packs for prizing, and getting it in people's hands, and that they go out and buy more. That's how we do our part in the life cycle of this product. Amazon is a dumping ground. It is a last resort. It is we need to get whatever we can out of this. And that's what it is to a lot of companies and a lot of businesses. A lot of people do very well on Amazon. I'm not saying that, but Wizards of the Coast is not putting stuff on Amazon to make money for the most part, especially at those prices. That's a dumping ground. And so that just tells me as an LGS, hey, I got to, the life cycle of this product is done after 2 months. I have 60 days to move this item or sealed product, get the money I can out of it, and if it's not off the shelf by 2 months, I got to crack it because Hasbro can just dump it on Amazon and just totally destroy the market. And then cheaper sealed product means cheaper singles because people are cracking that product because why not? It's so cheap. It just ruins the product. So that's how we can adapt, and that's how we can do better. If players disappear, there's nothing I can do to get that back. If they don't want to play anymore, that's more alarming. That's an issue. That's how LGSs die. We're not to that point. I know a lot of people don't see it as an avenue of revenue anymore. I know stores that don't even deal with Magic anymore, which is crazy. It's crazy to me. But there's stores out there that do and exist and do just fine without Magic. But that's where, and what hurts LGS the most is that 30th anniversary stuff is less of an issue. It's only an issue because players have made it an issue. And if Hasbro was just more like transparent and obvious and like explaining how, like the price point, $1,000 a box. If they just came out and said, I understand that a lot of you have these items and the collector's aspect of these items. We have priced these accordingly so that there's not just a bunch of cheap versions of your card on the open market, because people that are price conscious will just go buy the cheaper one and then not go and buy your more expensive stuff. So they're doing their part by trying to make it more expensive and inflating the price so that, and driving it as like, this is a collectible, this is for people that want to collect and reminisce and have a good time remembering the products. It's a collectible, not a play piece. These are game pieces. All these little cardboard squares that are very, very expensive is because they're game pieces. If Hasbro puts out a non-game piece item, it's a collectible at that point. It's just for collectors. It's not for players. The issue with that is that the same people that are nostalgic and are going to buy into this product are people that are already have these old stuff. The people that are nostalgic and have like retro collections and reserve list collections and are investing in this stuff are the people that this product would appeal to if they didn't already have the stuff. Because those are the people that are going to want to spend money and buy these expensive stuff, is your big whale investors. So the product is created basically to screw over those old investors by appealing to those old investors, which they're smart enough to know, like, I'm not going to buy this. I can just buy the real stuff and keep that. And then obviously the alarmist part of like, okay, if there's tons of the stuff back on the market, even if it's more expensive, it's still going to be cheaper than my old stuff. That's an issue. And that's how people get upset. And again, rightfully so. And for them to say this product is not for you was not the correct way to state that. It is to say this is a collector's item. This is not a play. These are not game pieces. These are collector's items. That's how they should have framed that, and they didn't. And I think if they were more hammering that point home, that this would not have been such a big deal. So that's the greater issue, and why the price is all of a sudden seen as prohibitive, and why people, these are not game pieces, is what they needed to say. This is not for players. The people that want these things, in actuality, are not the people that should be buying this product. But again, the flawed logic on Hasbro's end is that the people that would buy this are those people. See what I'm saying? So, again, that's the issue. And then, again, you cross over the threshold of they reprinted something that they said they would never reprint in any form. You are putting a lot of faith in a company by making this. They made a statement and made a claim, or whatever however official you want to say this is. Companies can do whatever they want, and especially companies that buy other companies can do what they want. I would not hold anything in any high regard as soon as a company is sold to somebody else. That's silly. And yes, you can cross your fingers and say, oh, well, surely they bought it and will uphold the same values and keep things the same as much as possible. But if there's an avenue for money, like why they're going to do it. And things have changed and evolved, and we've gone to the point, and you can make an argument for the reserve list. I'm not a big fan of the reserve list just because I think it's, again, on their point, it's silly. You can say it was necessary at the time to get people involved, but at this point, it's just kind of like, this game's established. It's a multi-million-dollar revenue stream, and a company tying their hands is needlessly, in a lot of ways, is not a good thing. So, I would definitely not hold a billion-dollar company, anything they say, as like a legally binding, like this is what they're going to do forever and for always. So, that is kind of a foolish thing if you think that's going to be an actual, like, moral ground that this business is not going to cross, that bought and sold. That's silly. That's a silly premise. And that's really what this all comes down to, is that Wizards, Hasbro, let's say Hasbro. I don't want to blame Wizards. Magic is, again, as somebody that is not a primary Magic player, I look at things like Neon Dynasty. I look at things like New Capenna, and I look at things like Brothers War. I say, I can see the appeal of this, and I think this is really cool, and this is a really neat direction. And especially with Dominaria and the revisits to like War of the Spark and that kind of stuff, all this stuff is super cool. And if you're really into this stuff, you can really see where that really appeals to you, and that's really something that is important for a game that has players that have been playing for the whole duration, grew up with this stuff. People that are now into their 30s, 40s, I mean, potentially, getting up to be 50 years old at this point, if you got into as a young adult. This is important, and generationally, this is important to a lot of people. Like, grew up with this stuff. It's a part of their lives. And yeah, it's important to keep that sacred. And yes, the reserve list was a part of that, because it built, and it was the foundation that this game was built on as an economic powerhouse that it is on the secondary market, is that these things are sacred. It's a surefire bet. You can put your money in it, and as time progresses, there will be less and less of these. It'll be in worse and worse condition, and that you will be rewarded at the end whenever you do decide to sell, because there's a finite amount. There never will be more, and you have the real deal, and proxies be damned, you have the real stuff. Proxies exist. Fakes existed since the stuff was already made. It's like back then. Proxies exist. I've had people that had collections from back then and said, yes, this is a proxy that I had from back in the day. They look terrible. Most of them do. But obviously now we have way better printers, and people are doing way better jobs, and it's very, very difficult to discern modern cards, let alone the old stuff that, you know, looks a little rough for what it was. You know, alpha beta stuff is so much variance in inks, and it's very difficult to authenticate that now. Obviously to the discerned people, but you know, to the layman that just wants, I just want a Black Lotus, I think it's cool. You're gonna go buy it for $8 grand, or you're gonna buy one for $6 on eBay. You know, that's and that's the thing. Like, sometimes collectibles can be like the cheap tchotchke knockoffs from a truck stop somewhere, and collectibles can also be super high end and like even better and like over the top and a dramatic version of something like a remastered version of a card tries to take the nostalgia of that old item and put it with a new spin and a twist. And most people appreciate that and like the throwback. Most card games appreciate when you reprint a card and give it the old feel. Celebrations Charizard. When they reprint Blue Eyes White Dragon for the 50th time, and probably more than 50th time, let's be real, and Yu-Gi-Oh! All that stuff is... It's nostalgic, it's awesome, it's cool, it's like a throwback, and even if it has a new spin on it, and different set numbers, and, you know, looks different. A lot of people appreciate that. Magic, it's less so. It's not as cool, especially with reserve list stuff, because it's taboo. And that is just a game that, or a premise that no other TCG plays by. Nobody plays by that rule. You can say what you will with first editions, and you know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has first editions too, but again, basically the same. For a business to never sell the same thing ever again, even if you can clearly tell the difference, it's asking a lot. That's asking a lot, especially, again, as these properties grow older. So that's my thought and my mentality, and I know this is a long video, but I wanted to kind of throw it all out there and all my thoughts and just kind of direct it and where it would make sense, and from my view, from an LGS owner's view of all this stuff. I'm not saying like reserve list was a bad move just because I don't agree with it. But it definitely has created and did play a role in Magic being so revered, really, as an investment piece. Is important to a lot of people to know that these things are old and they're going to be the classics forever, and the classics will never die, and that you have a piece of history by owning something on the reserve list, because it's never going to exist again. Again, modern age, this time, 30 years down the road from when it was created, it's a big ask. It's a big ask from a company. So, do I think it's going to eventually go away? Yeah, I think this is the first step of making the proxies. Will they make game pieces versions of it? Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't think there's going to be any like booster box full of like freshly new printed Power 9 stuff and stuff like that. But a lot of the stuff that Magic players held sacred, I don't think it's so sacred anymore. And these 30th anniversary packs are just the way that Hasbro decided to tell us. So that's my thoughts on it. Appreciate you, whoever made this to the end of the video. Appreciate you. But that's where I'm at, and that's my thoughts, and that's, as an LGS, what my concerns are, and going forward. Was it a big conflated deal than it should have been? Yes. Was it sad to see? yes as well. Like I don't like seeing people sell out of a game, especially because when you hear them speak from a place where they appreciate what it is and hold it in regard like they do, and that they did it upset because they felt betrayed or whatever the strong word is, whether or not it's valid, they feel it, their emotions are valid. So that's what it hurts and is rough to see. Something that they loved and grew up with and cherished is no longer that, and that's a bummer. Yeah, but that's what I got to say on that. I had like a note point here, but I hit most of them, but it was just not in the order that I wanted to. So again, appreciate you guys who made it to the end. Interested in what you guys think. My thoughts. Are you surprised by any of my takes? Some people probably might be, but interested to see what you guys think here at the end of it. It seems like it's more or less worked itself out, and you know, the rah-rah dramatic part of it is kind of past. So interested to see what you guys feel, and as always, appreciate you guys watching. I will see you guys in the next one.